Yes, I am.
Welcome to the show. How can we help you?
I have a question. Now, to me, as an atheist, and I'm consider myself rather intelligent, this question is obvious. The answer to this question is obvious. But I just wanted to get the answer from the more well-known people in the room. The user on YouTube, Shock of God, claims that just about all of you guys are extremely afraid to debate him, and that you just chicken out from all his debate requests. You've probably gotten a few in your inbox. I just wanted to know. I wanted there to just be an answer from you guys as to why these requests are ignored.
Firstly, I know Aaron wants to speak, and I will allow him to do so. Firstly, you suggest that I've been invited to have a discourse or discussion or debate with him. He's never asked me. I'm not sure I would accept it, but that's for a different reason. But he's never asked me. Aaron first, then Thunder.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten a direct invitation either. Not that I would accept from him. I have gotten a direct invitation from Nephilim Free. There's Shock of God and Nephilim Free, and then there's one other guy. The three of them have other people sometimes associated with them who can be spoken to rationally. Okay, I think I can't remember the names right now, but there's a couple of their associates that I've spoken who you can actually speak to. But those primary three in that group, debating them or having any sort of discourse with them at all would essentially be like sitting down with playground bullies from the 5th grade. Okay, they don't understand anything. They're going to yell over everything that you say. They want to control the atmosphere so that they can keep it chaotic and keep it senseless. There's no point in talking to people who will not understand anything, are desperately dishonest, or in the case of Nephilim, incapable of communication on any rational basis. And that's what you've got with the primary three of those. Now, as I said, I've encountered a couple others associated with them who I will talk to. And I'm considering, if I've got the people right, if I know who I'm dealing with, I would consider having those people on this show on the 29th, because there's a number of points I'd like to go over with them. But Shock of God, E-Questions, Nephilim Free, not a chance, because they are unable to speak as adults.
Before I go to Thunder, I just want to say that yesterday I had yet another conversation with YouTube user Together for Peace, otherwise known as Jack. And the topic, what I wanted to question him about, was the statement that he made a few days prior. He basically said, there is no argument that can be presented to me which would make me disbelieve God. Now, my question is, what on earth is the purpose of having a discussion or debate with someone who has set out their position so clearly and will not entertain any arguments against it? It is implicit. It is implicit in a reasoned discourse that you are open-minded enough to be persuaded by the person who you're talking to's arguments. He is not. So why bother? Sorry. Can I go to Don first, then, and then Thunder, because I know Thunder wants to comment.
Yeah, because there are possible benefits to doing a debate. I mean, in the sense of, let me try to think of how to articulate this. The only objective is not simply to convince the other person, right? I mean, that's not the only objective, is to convince your opponent of your position. I mean, a debate can still have a purpose and can still be beneficial, even if the other person is not convinced. So, but yes, I mean, I certainly agree that says a good deal about somebody's rationality in proving a belief and how, you know, strongly they hold it. But as far as that's not the only objective, is my point.
Thunder.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most obvious statement is, what the hell's the point of this show? It's for people like this to actually call in and field their opinions. And the mere fact that we've been doing this for, almost a year, 6 months, a year, something like that, and he's never turned up. I mean, how can you accuse someone of cowardice when the invitation has been open like that, and he's just never turned up? Secondly, I mean, shock of God. I mean, let's be real. The guy suffers from delusions of grandeur. He obviously edits Conservapedia in amazingly humorous fashion. That he's a big man according to him on YouTube, and that's not representative of reality. And, similarly, this sort of, I've challenged all of these people to debate. Well, the bottom line is that no one would give him the time. I mean, if it is, it's more or less done for the lulz.
I'm sorry, the bottom line, Thunder. The bottom line, Thunder, is that he hasn't. He hasn't challenged these people to debate. His argument about, or his suggestion that he challenged the atheist experience is a complete lie. He's a dishonest piece of shit.
Yeah, that is a lie, correct.
And I like you, DPR. No one's ever suggested that I debate the guy because it would be pointless. I mean, he is you look at his videos, they get about 1,000 hits a piece, and probably 3/4 of those are people who are watching it for the lulz. In this sense, him challenging anyone credible to a debate is it's the insane Catwoman in The Simpsons, challenging the Pope to debate on theology, and then saying that you're scared when he ignores the request. And there's a sort of string of these empty criticisms, right? And when I say empty criticisms, they're criticisms that can be made of anyone at any time. And Dawkins used to get this a lot with, he never addressed the thoughtful critics, the people who were experts on theology. And it's a perpetually moving goalpost that you can never hit. You never address your thoughtful critics. Well, if that was actually a valid argument, you would just say what the argument is to begin with, rather than just sort of saying, well, yeah, but they're experts in theology, and you never discuss them.
But find me a thoughtful critic, and I will. Is sort of the mentality. But that, and you've seen Shock of God's another reason why you wouldn't want to debate him is simply because you've seen his tactics. I mean, fuck, the very basis of this show is from that, the Truthful Christian Shock of God call where he's just screamed at and talked over the whole time. And who wants to do that? He simply can't control himself. So why the hell would you give him the time of day?
Joe, back to you.
Well, he may not have actually sent you guys the debate yet. Or the debate request yet. He has sent it to the Amazing Atheist, Non-Stamp Collector, and every 3 weeks he's sending it out to a new YouTube user. So I'm sure in due time you will get the invitation.
And I bet it comes with enormous conditions that it's got to take place on his blog TV or blog radio or whatever, and that gives him power to control it. I pretty much guess that it's not going to be a level playing field with him.
Yeah. Now we've had on this show, as Thunder has said, we've been up here for a long time, and it's not that we're restricting who's calling in. You've seen how many trolls get through here. Okay, so obviously we're not screening the calls too carefully. All right, we're going up against whomever calls up. But that's not what people like Shock of God want. They want a controlled environment. That's why he edits Wikipedia. If it was the public opinion and not his own opinion, it certainly wouldn't read the way that it does. He can't come into a public forum like this where we are ready for anybody, people much worse than he, much smarter than he, and who isn't. We're ready for all of those.
And I can say, and everyone that's appeared on the show will probably vouch for this. When I receive a request to be on the show, I only ask in general terms, what's the area of what's the topic? There's only one person that I've not taken on this evening, for example, because he wanted to talk about the legislation of divorce law in Malta, and I thought that was too esoteric a topic really for this show. Apart from that, I don't want to know specific details of the points you're going to make. All I do is ask it for the general topic, and you get on. I don't think I've refused very many people at all. And we're still waiting for Warrior Christian, by the way. If you're watching, probably too late now, but come back next show.
Let me just give a shock of God type response here, Joe. I mean, we've been up here for a year. I mean, is shock of God just too frightened to actually turn up to the show, Joe? I mean, is that the only reason? And that's the only possible reason he cannot have turned up, right? Is because he knows that he's not got a good argument to present, that he knows he'll lose. This is the sort of rationale shock of God presents. Now, why hasn't he actually turned up, Joe?
I don't entirely know. He might not even know about this room. I will say when it comes to...
he knows about it. I mean, he's talked about this show previously.
Okay. Well, I guess he is just a coward then. But and he uses this other chat service. And I will say when it comes to a debate, he actually does. It's like 20-minute like he'll do a 20-minute intro, and then he'll let you do a 20-minute argument, and then you'll have 5-minute rebuttals. And
that's the exact format that I think is pointless in these things. In that all that is, if you're doing that, gazillions of that type of debate exist, right? And the reason that they're pointless is because one guy puts off a load of spiel, another guy puts off a load of spiel. That's all been done. What you want to do is take the specific points to their logical conclusion, and that never happens in that form of debate.
And I'm also I'm going to go to Aaron, then quickly back to Joe, and then I'm going to move on to the last caller. Aaron next, please.
Right. I would like to ask in a simple discourse. Okay, it's not a debate. We're not billing ourselves that way. I want to inquire of these people specific points about why they believe what they believe and where their misconceptions are. I could then, in real time, offer a correction for that misconception and then ask for clarification. It is possible to reason with some people that way. Shock of God is not somebody who wants to be reasoned with. They, as Thunder had already put it, they want a controlled environment where they can talk over everyone. When we started us up, we did get criticized for talking over some of the guests. And because we got that criticism and we realized, okay, this does not work, we stopped. Shock of God needs to follow suit. He needs to man up and learn how to communicate effectively, and then he could come on the show anyway, whether he has learned that yet or not.
Well, there's a quote that I love, and it's titled, "Raising Your Voice, the next best thing to being right," which is exactly his entire, I mean, that is him to a T, is it not? I mean, if you can't be right, be loud. So anyways, go ahead.
Back to Joe.
I guess you are right. There is no reason in debating with him. But
of course, we're always right. We're atheists.
Well, on your last show, the puppy turtle, he's one of his minions, a moderator in his room. You guys actually, from your argument, from what I've seen, you've actually influenced him and made him become a little bit more intelligent.
Yes, I've spoken to someone about that. It wasn't just his appearance on the show and what was discussed on the show. There were other people also having conversations with him on Skype chats and the like. But it does appear that the puppy turtle has changed his view. He's decided to look at the evidence, and if the evidence leads him towards the belief in evolution, then that is the path that he will take, which I think is a very bold and brave admission for someone of his age to make.
He's a very young guy.
He's 14.
Told him basically, he needs to not make decisions yet. If he approaches life with a closed mind, he's not going to learn.
Joe, I'm going to remove you now, but thank you very much for the call.